All praise, honor, and glory be to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah Yahweh Kakadash. Yahweh is who people call God. Yahweh Shah is who people call Jesus. Double honors to the apostles over the Great Millstone Church, as well as the elder bishops. Shalom to the rest of the Akim, also the branch soul forth this true word, for true life, and all true faith and sincerity. Jumping straight into this, I just want to deal with verse 6 in Proverbs 18. Uh, really through 7. All right. And it's for the sake of the times we in with everything going on. Um, I know we just us here the Northwest Arkansas branch we just spoke upon. Uh, this was just spoke upon in a previous class. Um, as far as be wearing of these uh these people that's going to be in their feelings more and more as the times come. As the times progress. Uh, for a slew of reasons from them catching hell, the world's ending, their pride is being brought low. Then you know how is nowhere to turn from it, and every time they do turn, they got the Hebrew Israelites to remind them of this being inevitable. So these people pissed to where you're gonna have that great insurrection, that great wrath of a fiery wrath of a great multitude kindled over us. Roughly paraphrasing second Ezra in the 16th chapter, and you're starting to see this, man, from dudes walking up, pulling guns on brothers, brothers having objects thrown at them, you know, uh, and this is all coming from all sorts of people that are outside this truth, So our actions cause this is a time where we're about to see this happening. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to that second Ezra 16, but again, the Lord said, "We shall, shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved." So this is a time, for us and our conduct, and in particular our speech, to be way more, as brothers say, salty, uh, seasoned, and prudent, and careful and in control, you know, way more according to knowledge than, being zealous, you know. Now is not the time for that. So I just want to get into these verses upon all this happening. All right, this is Proverbs for the sake of that. It says, Proverbs 18 and 6, a fool's lips into 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 contention, and his mouth calleth for sore strokes. All right, and his mouth calleth for strokes. All right. So let me read that one more time. It says, a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. So you got people out here that just is reckless at the mouth, and they say things that can get them punched in their mouth. You got a lot of people out here that just say random ass stuff, crazy stuff, and need to get checked for it. A lot of them deserve to get punched in their mouth for the stuff they say. Now we understand that, but we're gonna use this for ourselves as well, because it say these people are foolish, right? But it says a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. Now, only people that's gonna end up in that situation are fools, obviously, or those that are being fools. All right, so you gotta watch what you're saying. All right, it says this is Ephesians 5:15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, right? So meaning you move, you know, in this war, knowing that these times are increasing, you want to move. You want to be moving like that. You want to be these times of the end and all this peril and people being rambunctious and losing it and men's hearts failing them, you know, and crashing out. you know, uh, ready to crash out from men to women, all races. You know, you want to be moving like that's the times we in. So what it means by walking, and you want to walk circumspectly. You want to be pretty much watching everything, that's in regards to you, 360. Because circumspect means to look around. So you want to examine yourself and make sure, you know, not only in the carnal sense, you watching where you're going, where you stepping, watch your back, you know what I'm saying? Watch the area, but you want to watch, you know, uh, you want to make sure you on all P's and Q's. Everything, in regards to you, there is good. There's no breaches, no ways that Satan, no ways to where Satan can get a hold of you based off how uh, you're moving, based off you having weak points. So that's why I said, see ye then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools. This is the point, not as fools, but as wise. All right, this in the NLT. So be careful how you live. Don't live like fools. See that, but like those who are wise. All right, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. So you want to, mind the fact of, the Lord is going to have things play out like this, and you have to have people fulfill these things, people brawling and insurrections upon us and things like that, civil war, things like that, civil unrest, you know, so forth and so on. So that's because why? That's the will. That's the Lord's will. So you want to be understanding of that, and you want to understand someone's going to have to play out these things, and you don't want to be playing out the wrong part. So you have to check yourself to make sure you're on the right end of the Lord's movie, the right end of the stick, the right end of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and because as it says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. So you want to really be mindful of this because the day of the Lord, hence the will of the Lord, is no light in it. It's darkness. You know, and it takes people by by surprise. So you want to be circumspect. You want to be aware of all of this, and you want to be watching how you move so you don't play out, the wrong end of the stick. So you're not overtaken by these things, because if you're not being uh, mindful of that, you were being foolish, and that's my point in getting this. So yeah, though this is written to these just regular bug out people, you know what I'm saying, if you will, in regards to only a fool is gonna, say some dumb shit to where they, that's these bug out people. They don't know the scriptures, so forth and so on. That's what it's talking about. That's true, but it can also be played out by anybody who's not only just a fool, but being foolish. To where that person who's usually not a fool just had a foolish moment to where they said something to where now, they words have led them into a contention, you know? And let's get that word contention when you go back to Proverbs 18. All right.
Strong's H7379, Reeve, and second entry, Riv, and third entry, Riv.
So Rayab, basically a strife, controversy, a quarrel, a dispute, a big argument, a quarrel being like a fight. Let's get this word too, quarrel, so you can see.
Quarrel.
A heated argument or disagreement, typically about trivial issue in between people who are usually on good terms. Argument, role, fight. All right. So it could be a serious conflict between groups, as you see. A quarrel in the AI overview is an angry dispute or argument, either a verbal one between individuals or a more serious conflict between groups. And those groups will consist of these people that come up standing for what they stand for, or not standing for nothing at all, coming upon us at the camps. Or if you're a brother by yourself, you know, who's truly not by yourself, you got the Lord with you, truthfully, you know, or wisdom, who's been made wisdom unto us. So you got these people that come up that are against ways, that we actually supposed to be, and you try to give them that, right, wisdom, if you will, right, because the scriptures tell you to walk in wisdom towards them are without, but you do it out of season. Colossians 4:5, walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. All right, coming here, Sirach 22:6, a tale out of season is as a tale. See, so but it says a tale out of season is as music in mourning. But stripes and it's not even a one. 1 second. Sirach 20:20. I'm gonna start at 19. It says, and unseasoned, let's start at 18. To slip upon a pavement is better than to slip with the tongue. So the fall of the wicked shall come speedily. An unseasonable tale will always be in the mouth of the unwise, which will be a fool. So people that do things, say things out of season is deemed fools. When people do that, that's deemed being foolish. No matter if it's wise or not. It's a wise saying or whatever, right? But anyway, it says a wise sentence shall be rejected when it cometh out of a fool's mouth. See that? For he will not speak it in due season, and that's how you have it. That's how you have your issue right there. You know what I'm saying? So these people come up, and with their group, and their belief, Satan with them, if you will, because they could just be by themselves, or it's a quantity of them, and they may come up to brothers, or they may come up to one brother who's standing there with the Spirit of the Lord, with the wisdom that he has. Again, Yahushua being made wisdom unto us, and you get to walking in wisdom towards them that are without. You try to give them that wisdom, and you not being circumspect. You end up saying something that's right, but it's out of season, and now your lips then got you in a situation where you in a contention, you in a fight, and then when you actually read down on that Proverbs 18:6, when you go into that word contention, it actually says like forensics, which is like dealing with like a crime scene. See, with who has forensic cause. One who has forensic cause. It says forensic cause. That just make me think of like, the show Forensic Files. They do the forensics upon crime scenes. So you done said some shit to where a crime scene end up happening. Somebody end up pulling out a gun. Somebody end up, getting stabbed or trying to stab, or they end up getting their ass beat. However, created a situation where now Satan can create this prophecy, certain aspects of the prophecy upon you in the wrong way. Because why? A fool's lip enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. Because what you said with your lips, like they say, loose lips sink ships, things like that. So you just want to be mindful of that. That's basically the point. You say something to where now they feel like they gotta do something to you. They gotta wild out, even if that's ill-advised, or you said something just still really, even if it was right, like people say, it's how you say it. But in the scriptures, it's not even how you say it, it's when you say it. What you say to who was, is a part of making it, something that's to be accepted or not. you know, while obviously what you say, you know, while it being about what you say as well. So yeah, that's basically that. Um, so yeah, it says Colossians 4:6, let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt. You know, you ain't gotta respond to everything, answer everything, check everything. You know, you want to have grace. You know, let your conversation be with grace. Always be with grace. Let's get that word grace real quick. The word grace, charisma.
Strong's G 5485. Charis. Charis.
Grace, charisma. But anyway, it says pleasurable, sweetness, charm. See that you want to be wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove. You know, knowledge, affection. You know, you're wise, which is you know, it's how your words wrapped. You know, where they coming from. You know, you whatever, regardless of what you may be saying, they it has that grace with it, that packaging with it. Could be a good product, but horrible packaging. It's the presentation. You know what I'm saying? So that helps calm things down. The scriptures tell you, you know, a soft answer turneth away wrath. You know? These people ready to crash out, but it says seasoned with salt. See that? So that it says that ye may know how to answer every man. Now, do you just part all the salt? You know, nah, you sprinkle a little bit here, a little bit there. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much how we supposed to be. We're supposed to be how we're supposed to be. We're the salt of the earth, like the Lord said. But if the salt has lost its savor, what good is it for? You know, it needs to be applied just how it's supposed to be applied, for what it's applied for, to whom it's supposed to be applied to. We're not going to talk much with a fool either. All right? So it says, a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. So in the NLT, the mouths of fools are their ruin. They trap themselves with their lips. Yeah, man. So you should be, you know, suffering for well-doing, not for wrongdoing. All right? So, it's going to be, you know, the great wrath, fiery wrath of a great multitude kindled over us, but it shouldn't be because you started the shit. You helped the shit play out. You know what I'm saying? And even if it does, you can rest assured and rest well to know that, you know, if you be followers of that which is good, who can harm you? Nobody. You did with that which was pleasing to Yahweh Shemiel Shah. This is 1 Peter 3:13 in it here. And who is he that will harm you if ye be followers of that which is good? So you say what you're supposed to say, but when you're supposed to say it, and you stop saying it when you should stop saying it, and you let it always be with grace, season, you know, give it to whom and ought to as much as they can bear. You know, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to see these things ahead of time. You got to have that foresight. You already know this is a demon. I already see where this is going. Let me cut this here. You know, if we could talk to him, deal with him, we deal with him. You know? But just want to throw that out there. I'm going to say, call on Yahweh. Call on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Yahweh Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of the Great Millstone Church. Till next time, shalom.